Good evening. My name is Joe McMahon, and I am the founder of an academic group called Council of International Studies based in the state of Nevada. And the issue presented here today is the South Asian nation of Sri Lanka and their military offensive against the LTTE, or the Tamil Tigers. A battle between the government of Sri Lanka and the Tigers for the past 25 years. The Sri Lankan military has almost defeated the Tamil Tigers, capturing almost all the territory held by them in the north of the country. The international community, especially Western democracies like the United States, are concerned because it has been reported that approximately 250,000 civilians are suffering in the northern battlefield because of the ongoing offensive against the Tamil Tigers. My guest today is Daya Gamagi. Daya, how are you?
I'm fine.
He is now with us to give us some insights on what's going on in Sri Lanka and how the international community, along with the United States, responds to the developing events. How well are you positioned, Daya, to give an analysis of what's going on in Sri Lanka? And what credentials do you have to make cogent presentation of Sri Lanka's plight in her battle with the terrorist groups, which I understand is a micro group, but has a macro effect in Sri Lanka and internationally?
Well, I have some pretty good credentials. From 1970 to 1995, I was a foreign service national, working for the United States Department of State,
Okay.
in the American Embassy in Colombo, Sri Lanka. First 10 years in public affairs.
You're a political analyst?
And then the last 15 years as a political analyst, a researcher, an investigator, as a political specialist.
Okay.
So I was mostly involved in doing analytical reports, research on men and matters.
Inputs to annual human rights reports.
And also I was one of the person who gave inputs to the annual human rights report, because under the United States federal law, the State Department need to produce a human rights report of all the countries the United States has diplomatic relations.
Okay.
Sri Lanka was one.
Okay.
So every year. And that goes to the Congress, and Congress takes note of that.
Yes.
So we used to do that, and I was one of the persons who did that. So
what are you doing now?
So now I am the United States national correspondent for the online daily newspaper Asian Tribune.
Is Sri Lanka's national crisis well understood in the West? The international community, the United States and others?
Sri Lanka is the most misunderstood country, really.
Okay.
You know, Sri Lanka's ethnic composition, 19 million people in Sri Lanka, size of West Virginia. And of the 19 million, 74% is the majority ethnic Sinhalese, 12% is the minority ethnic Tamils, and about 8% is of the Islamic faith.
Okay. And
there is another 5%, 6% of Tamils of Indian origin who were brought by the British in the mid-1800s and settled in the central region of Sri Lanka for plantation work. They have nothing to do, absolutely no connections at all, with the 12% ethnic Tamils.
There was a sizable Sinhalese and Muslim community in the northern region, is that right?
There is a sizable, in fact, the northern region is predominantly Tamil.
Okay.
And the east is a mixture, but mostly a majority is Tamil, and then you have the sizable Sinhalese ethnic community there and a Muslim community there. Now, what the LTTE did, the LTTE was started in 1983.
Okay.
As a grievance of the Tamil people. That's how they started it.
All right.
I won't say that the Tamil people have no grievances. I won't say that. In fact, the Sinhalese do have grievances because 77% of the country is still rural.
Okay.
So what the LTT tried to achieve at that time in the 80s was that in the 80s there were vibrant Tamil political parties in Sri Lanka.
Okay.
They were in parliament. In fact, the leader of the opposition was from a Tamil political party in the 80s, in the 70s. So it was an obstacle to the Tamil Tigers or the LTTE to allow these people to survive. So what they did was, in the 80s and the early 90s, the LTTE eliminated, assassinated almost all prominent democratic Tamil leadership was eliminated.
What about the farms in Canton Dollar?
While eliminating the Tamil leadership,
Yes.
in Sri Lanka, and the intellectuals who were trying to bring some sort of a settlement to Sri Lanka's national issues, the LTTE ejected, mercilessly ejected the Sinhalese population from the northern province and parts of the eastern province.
Okay.
The LTT went into to Buddhist religious worship places where the Buddhist monks were worshipping. They massacred them. They went to the Muslim temples, Muslim mosques, while they were worshipping. They massacred them. So they chased these people out of the northern region and the eastern region, parts of the eastern region, and with that, the elimination of the democratic Tamil leadership in the country,
Yes.
and eliminating and assassinating the Tamil intellectuals,
Yes.
LTT declared itself as the sole representative of the Tamil people. That's what the LTT did.
What about were they using human shields at any time in there?
Right now, what's happening is that the LTT, that there are about 200,000 civilians trapped in the war zone in the north. The LTT is almost being cornered and almost getting defeated now by the Sri Lankan army.
Okay.
Now they are holding this particular area, and then the government has already declared a safe zone for these civilians
Yes.
to get out of that place.
Okay.
But the LTT is holding them back. In fact, in early February, first week of February this year, February, the LTT suicide bomb detonated himself in a place where the refugees or the civilians were crossing over to the government safe zone, killing about 16 or 18 people. Yeah. So that the fact remains that they are trying to prevent these people going into the leaving the LTT controlled areas.
So they were trying to carve out their own territory, LTTE.
That was the original thing, because
Okay.
actually what the international community needs to understand is that here is the government of Sri Lanka for the past 20 years had been battling a ruthless terrorist organization which assassinated the president of Sri Lanka, which assassinated the Indian prime minister, which assassinated and eliminated the democratic leadership for the Tamil people,
Yes.
and the intellectuals of Tamil people, and which ejected the remaining Sinhalese people from the north, ethnic cleansing. That this is a movement that we've been battled by the government of Sri Lanka to safeguard the sovereignty of the country, territorial integrity of the country, and the democracy that Sri Lanka gained from the British in 1948.